الذين آمنوا منكم والذين أوتوا العلم درجات والله بما تعملون خبير.
The Shaykh said, number 5, emitting blood due to hijama, cupping. According to analogy, all form of emitting blood intentionally. So pay attention to this wording. So basically, al-hijama, according to the opinion of the Shaykh, and this is the opinion of al-Hanabila and other scholars too, that al-hijama, if you get cupped during the day, then your fast is broken because it weakens the body. It weakens the body because a lot of blood comes out. So it to be on the cautious side, there is ikhtilaf among the ulama on this issue, but to be on the safe and the cautious side, if you have to do it and you need to do it during do it after you break the fast. And anything that has the same hukum as al-hijama breaks the fast, but it has to be intentionally. In other words, if it was done unintentionally, it does not break the person's fast. Did not cause, the Shaykh, he said, naam, yes, he said, as for the emission of a small amount of blood as part of a medical examination, like when you go to the lab and you get you get what they call it, blood works. We call them blood works here, or blood samples, if you wish. You can call it blood sample. Those, they don't break the fast. They don't break your fast. It does not affect the body by weakening it, as is the case with hijama. Number 6, vomiting intentionally. This means releasing out what the food and drink is in the stomach. So if you do it intentionally, then it breaks your fast. It breaks your fast. If you vomit it intentionally, then it breaks your fast. But if you vomited involuntarily, and it happens to a lot of people during the fast while they're fasting, the stomach becomes very acidic, and then they began to vomit involuntarily. In that case, it does not break your fast because it's something beyond your control. Number 7, the release of blood from menstruation and postpartum bleeding. So now this has to do with the females, has to do with the females, and it's something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed upon the females, menstruation and postpartum bleeding and the like. طيب. Now the menstruation, when it comes, it has different scenarios. Like, for example, if it comes after Maghrib, the woman was fasting, and after Maghrib her period starts, so that day, alhamdulillah, the fast is valid. But from that time on, she has to refrain from fasting and from praying. And if she wants to read the Quran, she wants to hold the mushaf, she has to wear gloves. Because she cannot touch the Quran with her bare hand, according to the majority of the scholars, including the 4 Imam, Abu Hanifa, Malik, al-Shafi'i, Ahmad, and al-Imam bin Baz, al-Sheikh Uthaymīn, al-Shaykh Sālih bin Muhammad, and the Permanent Committee of Iftā, and many of the scholars, majority. But if she wears gloves, alhamdulillah, because sisters also, they in Ramadan, they like to read the Quran, and they can't pray, so they can make dua and they can read the Quran, they can make adhkar and the like. طيب. Likewise, ikhwan, postpartum bleeding. But if the menstrual cycle starts like before Maghrib, before the sun was set, then that day is gone. That day is gone, and she has to make it up. طيب. The Shaykh, he said, the postpartum bleeding is when a woman gives birth. After she gives birth, she bleeds, and usually the bleeding can last as long as 40 days. Sometimes it can even go to 60 days. So it depends. and sometimes it's less than that. So the measuring stick for the sisters, if you become clean before 40 days, then you have to make ghusl, and then you start your prayer and everything else, your fast and everything else. طيب? But if you did not get cleaned up until 40 days or more than that, then you have to wait until the blood stops or you see the white discharge coming out. When the white discharge comes out, that means that you are clean now and pure, and you can go ahead and make ghusl and everything.